a beautiful day begins with a beautiful mindset. Gratitude. That's what I am overflowing with in this moment is just gratitude for another day of life, gratitude for my healthy body, gratitude for just all of the blessings that really allow me to live the life that I love. And I think sometimes we just underestimate life. I think sometimes we overcomplicate life. And I think sometimes we forget that life is more about how we choose to navigate it. Life is less about what happens and more about how we choose to respond to what happens. Life is really just about our perspective. And so everyone's living a different life. Everyone is carrying a different perspective. Everyone is navigating and treading through their life journey differently. And I really do aspire to inspire people to live with more grace and gratitude, to live with more intention, to live life in purpose, on purpose, with purpose. Because if not, then what is the point? What is the point? The only guarantee of life is death. So we know that this life ultimately will end somewhere, somehow. It is inevitable. And yet, many of us don't really live our lives fully. We're not fulfilling the prophecy or the I just feel like sometimes we're playing small, we're living small, we're diluting our existence. We're watering ourselves down to be more digestible for other people or to fit in instead of realizing we were born to stand out. We were meant and created to be unique and divinely ordained with a purpose. Everything serves a purpose. Everything in life is to be of service in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And I think as humans, it can be so easy for us to be like, well, this is what I want to do, or this is what I feel like I want to do, or feel like I need to do, or this is what matters to me and what's important. And we fail to realize that sometimes that's really not in alignment with what is best for us or for the collective. We're not even three, we're just hitting 3 minutes, and all of that just came out. So, all right, here we are. I really came on here with a message to share, and that message is about the art of surrender. Learning how to surrender, I think, is one of the greatest gifts, tools, assets that we can embody and put into practice as humans. Because so often we have in our mind what we want to do, how we want to do it, when we want to do it, and the way in which we want to do it. And all of this keeps us bound to our humanness. It keeps us bound to our logical mind and it limits our experience. When we learn to surrender, it really is us taking a step back and choosing to realize that it's not all in my control. I'm not the one making the decisions. Even though I feel like I'm making the decisions, it's ultimately up to a greater power, a greater source, a divine orchestration for things to flow and to align. There are a lot of people who went to sleep last night with plans for today, and yet they didn't wake up. So, as much as you feel like you're in control of something, or you're planning something, or you want something to happen in a certain way, I just want to remind you that life is a gift. It's not guaranteed, it's not promised. You won't always have the same opportunities that you have right now. You won't always have the body that you have now, the health, the tools, the support system, the people, the lessons, the experiences. Everything is always changing. That's the only constant in life is change. The only constant in life is change. And so for me, learning to practice the art of surrender is really me choosing to let go of perceived control. I actually looked up the word surrender because I love being able to. Sometimes we have an idea of what a word means, but I do like being able to go to the dictionary and get a true definition rather than a description. Surrender as a verb is defined as cease resistance to an enemy or opponent and submit to their authority. As a noun, the definition is the action of surrendering. And then there's another one that says to agree to stop fighting, hiding, resisting, etc., because you know that you will not win or succeed. So, to me, if I had to sum up those three definitions into one, I would say that surrender is really becoming aware of resistance within your life. And when you have that awareness of where you're resisting, it gives you the clue of where you need to invite surrender. And surrender is just letting go, letting go of resistance, letting go of control, letting go of hiding or fighting. Ultimately, trying to hold on to something to make it be the way that you want it to be or think it should be, sometimes that is what's limiting you from experiencing things naturally, authentically, genuinely. You don't always know what's best. You don't always foresee that which is down the road, right? You might see your destination, the destination that you want to reach, but you may not understand what that journey actually requires. Or even considering the way that you think is the best way to get there might actually be the long way and maybe the unsafe way or the misaligned way versus surrendering your will to God, to the Most High, to your higher self, surrendering your will in order to be led and be guided to the most direct way, the most aligned way, the most intentional way. So, yeah, the art of surrender. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's easier to fight for control. It's easier to struggle for power. It's easier to bang on your chest and like it's my way or the highway. But all of that really just shows where you are on your journey with yourself. How open are you to being led and to be guided? How open are you? How trusting are you of a higher power, a higher source? A lot of the times, our inability to be led and be guided is reflective of areas where we need to grow to deepen our faith, our understanding, our overstanding, and our understanding, showing us where we can still learn to embody those practical tools as adults because we're not children anymore. We are, but we're not. We all have a child inside of us. We have all the ages we've ever been are still inside of us. Age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and so on and so forth. You are all the ages you've ever been right here, right now. And yet you have more responsibility now because you have the accumulation of those experiences as field research. And it's up to you to apply what you've learned or to not. And that's why you get people who are adults and they still act childish. Now, there's a difference between being childish and being childlike. I aspire to always be childlike, be curious, be open, be loving, be understanding, be forgiving, be playful, be authentic, be genuine. These things are childlike. Childish is like, it has to be my way, or I'm going to throw a temper tantrum. I want this because it's mine. Not being open to other people's perspectives or experiences because it doesn't reflect my own. and so on and so forth. I think the most successful adults are the ones who keep their inner child alive and well and healthy and safe. And the adults who are not uh doing their best, those are the ones who are really struggling with life because they're in fight or flight mode. And they are failing to realize that it is them who needs to step up and be the version that their younger self needed. They're still putting the blame on the other people who didn't or couldn't or weren't able to show up for them in the ways that they needed. And so now they're making it everyone else's fault and pointing the finger of blame, or this is why I'm this way, victimizing their journey rather than realizing all of these things served a purpose. And it's now time for me to step into the role of being the provider, the protector, the problem solver for my life. Because ultimately, no one is going to have your best interests at mind or at heart other than you. And if not you, then who? Right? So for me, learning to surrender has been a journey, but it also has been so rewarding and so fulfilling because it inspires me to like worry less, and it inspires me to trust more. It inspires me to slow down. Like there's no rush. What is for me, and it will not pass me by. And not everything that comes is meant to stay. So trusting that when something comes and then it leaves, that it has served its purpose and that it is intentionally happening. It's not by an accident or by a fluke or coincidence. Everything is happening divinely. That's the way my faith is set up. That's the way that I live my life. And because of that, I feel like my life experience is just way different. Way different, not just way different than other people's, but way different than my life experience once was. I feel like I've experienced so many different lifetimes in this one life, and I'm still living and growing and learning and expanding and evolving. And isn't that the point? Everything that is living should be growing. Everything that is living should be growing. These trees behind me, they are alive. They might not still be growing taller, but they still are producing leaves. And then when it's time for the leaves to go, they will shed and then it's a cycle. It's always growing. If this tree was to stop living, everything that it produced would also be affected or impacted. And I think that sometimes we can look at our life and just to see, what are we producing? Are we producing life? Are we stagnant? Are we so comfortable in our being that we forget to invite and allow ourselves to grow beyond that which we've become? Imagine if I turned 6 years old. I'm like, no, this is good. I don't wanna. Nah, I'm just gonna stay here at 6. I'd miss out on a whole lifetime. And even being one age, I'm 6, but I'm 6 for 365 days. Every day is a different experience of 6. And so I just think sometimes we limit ourselves as being a man or being a woman or being a black person or brown person or a Spanish person or whatever religion, age, gender, nationality, whatever these binding, dividing, alternating labels that we put ourselves in really take us away from our essence. We are divine beings having a human experience. Beyond all the labels, beyond all the labels and all the differences, we are divine beings having a human experience. How can I make the most out of this human experience is to integrate my divinity, my spirituality into this essence. Everything in nature has a spirit. And if you want to get even deeper, everything in nature has the same spirit presenting itself in a different way. And so if I can tune into that essence within myself and trust that I am always being guided, divinely guided and protected with what is best for me. There's no reason for me to really want to force my will. Nothing has to be the way that I think it has to be. Everything is as it is. So rather than trying to make other things be what I think they should be, how about I just trust that everything is as it should be? One requires a lot more effort and the other requires a lack of effort. And that's really what I think surrender is. Surrender is a lack of effort, a lack of resistance. Stop trying to fight against and just allow, releasing resistance and easing into flow. Go with the flow, flow with the current of life. Why are you trying so hard to swim upstream? What is for you comes with ease. Think about it. You're breathing right now with ease. You're not having to think about where your next breath is coming from. You're not struggling to try to, I got to get the breath. I don't know where the breath is going to come. I need the breath. You need it and it is provided for you. And that is the essence of life. Everything that you need is divinely provided for you in the most divine way, in the most divine time. Isn't it so? Isn't it so? When did we get to the point of complicating our life and our existence to things that are out of our control? So for me, it's just a constant reminder to be present, slow down. Um, Rushing is a reflection of an ungrounded nervous system. When you are present enough to slow down, you are more aware. And when you're more aware, you're more powerful because our power comes from our awareness. If our awareness is distracted to things that may or may not happen or that could, should, would happen or that happened that we don't have any control over and I wish it would have happened differently. When our mind and our awareness is in all these different places at all these different times that really don't exist because all that ever exists is the here and now, we're less powerful. And that's why people are dealing with so much dis-ease and illness is because we're stressed and we're mentally rattled and we're spiritually ungrounded instead of realizing our power is in us. It's in our awareness. It's in our intention. It's in our heart space. It's in our bodies. And this body is just a vehicle, a vessel. But one day, this vessel, this vehicle will reach its limit and it will expire. But even who we are is not bound to this body, to this vessel. It's an energy, right? When someone passes, today makes 1 year since my granddad transitioned. And he's no longer here in the physical, but the wind chime. The wind chime just started playing as I'm saying this. He's no longer here in the physical, but I feel him with me every day as I'm here on his land and taking care of his house and just I feel him. He's still here. And in the things that he's taught me and in the ways that I'm able to apply what I've learned from him, it's just energy never dies. It just takes different forms. And so if we can allow ourselves to surrender more and be aware of the signs, how God is speaking to us and using us and directing us and guiding us and be open enough to be guided and to be led and to be trusting. that we are always being led to what is best, that everything is always aligning in our highest good and in our ultimate favor. If you move with that kind of awareness and intention, just imagine how your life would shift. There will be no space for fear because the only what if is, what if this works out exactly as it needs to? What if this works out in my ultimate favor? So, yeah, that's what I felt guided to get on here and share with y'all today. Thank you so much. Yes, then after that, it's all about the soul. Exactly. Exactly. What books are you reading? This is too much knowledge. I actually have been reading lately, but I've been reading more fiction than nonfiction. But I will say one nonfiction book that I read that really helped me open my mind is called The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz, Don Miguel Ruiz. That book is a really good short book, but it really is helpful to just noticing what agreements you've made in your life and how you can always make new agreements. And when you make new agreements, it changes everything else. Because ultimately, if there's a change that you wish to see, that is the change that you need to be. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank y'all so much for the love. But that's really about it. So it's been about 20 minutes. I'm going to log off now. Thank you. Happy Juneteenth to you as well. I'm going to go ahead and log off now. Just wanted to come on and share that message with you all. I hope that this message reaches who it needs to reach and that it resonates in a way that inspires you to step into the driver's seat of your life and to remind yourself that life is not happening to you. Life is happening through you. Life is happening for you. And yeah, your mentality becomes your reality. It's always a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. And a beautiful day begins with a beautiful mindset. So, till next time, y'all, peace and love. Later.